Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be interviewing Liza Charnoki. She is a flight nurse in the Navy, and she's going to be talking to us about her experience and the way she became a flight nurse and the training track and the actual duty station that she went to. So welcome, Liza. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. So what was your nursing experience before commissioning as an officer in the Navy?
So before I joined the Navy, I was a civilian nurse. I started out in a medical ICU, and I worked there for probably about 7 months, and I floated, or I will say they pulled me to a trauma ICU because the trauma unit was really full of patients and they didn't have enough nurses. So at about the 7-month mark as a new grad nurse, I was pulled to the trauma ICU, and I loved it. So it was a sister hospital, and I got to work there for a few months, and after about maybe 4 months, they officially asked me to work for their hospital and work for their unit. So I got recruited to work on the trauma unit.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience.
And you probably got like a lot of experience seeing a lot of critical and high acuity patients, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a level 1 trauma center. Our ICU would take, well, we weren't supposed to take pediatrics, but we would take the really critical pediatrics, so the teenagers. But we had gunshot wounds, motor vehicle accidents, a lot of strokes, falls. We got burns. So yeah, it gave me a lot of experience.
How many years of experience did you have before you joined the Navy?
I had 2 years of experience before I joined the Navy.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice. So that's a pretty solid background before you came in. How did you hear about the Navy, and what made you want to join? So you had this like cool ass job, and then what made you want to join the Navy?
I actually did ROTC with the Air Force in college.
Oh, traitor. I'm just kidding.
So I started off with the Army, and I thought that we got to do a lot of cool stuff in the Army ROTC program, but I didn't want to be an officer in the Army. So then I did ROTC with the Air Force, and after working, and when I started actually considering commissioning, I looked at the duty stations, and that's why I chose the Navy. So
because they had cooler duty stations.
Way cooler duty stations. I wanted to be by the ocean. I wanted to be somewhere cool. Even our overseas duty stations are way better, in my opinion, than the Air Force.
What program did you use to join the Navy?
I was a direct accession. So to join the Navy, after I started speaking with the recruiter, they wanted at the time 2 years, minimum 2 years experience to join as a nurse.
Oh, okay, got it. And was that an easy process for you?
For me, it wasn't, because I had a lot of speeding tickets. So I had to get a waiver. To join.
Okay, I didn't know that about you. Okay, so yeah, there's a whole list of things when you're trying to get into the military that the recruiter will go over with you. There's like a whole packet, right? And you have to like sign all these papers. Did you have to get any letters of recommendation?
I did. So I had to get letters of recommendation, especially when I told them about all my speeding tickets, because then I had to have like the moral background, for people had to vouch for me that I was a good person.
Okay, got it. What was your first duty station? So please describe your experience and how your transition was from civilian life to active duty.
So my first duty station was at Balboa, so in San Diego, and the transition from civilian life to active duty was a little challenging because at the time I was a single parent. So when I had first come to my first duty station, I had to look for childcare right away. I had to look for a place that was close enough to work, but also close enough to military communities so I could have help. And so it was a little challenging, but quite honestly, the military community was really helpful. And so they're the ones that got me on track with who I should speak to, where I can get help, and yeah.
So you felt like you had a lot of support then?
I had a lot of support. I was really nervous that I wasn't going to have support and that I would need my family to come, but I had a lot of help along the way.
That is one thing too, like you get stationed to these different places, and if you've never been without like grandma and grandpa or like any type of support for your kids, it's not like you just trust anybody with your kids. Right? So please tell us specifically about your flight nurse path. So if you can describe the application process, the training pipeline, and your duty station, and how you earned your flight wings.
Okay, so again, like I said, my background was primarily trauma. I went to San Diego Balboa in their ICU, and I wanted more of the trauma. So when the operational application for duty stations came out, the call out, I applied for it, and my intention was to join the FST. So
FST, for those of you who don't know, it's a fleet surgical team, and it's a team of, I don't know, like 5, 7. I don't know the amount, but it's a team that you basically go out and you deploy on ships.
So I wanted to join the FST. That was my number 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. And when I got a call back from the detailer, she was like, Diego Garcia or bust. Oh, so no. I didn't really have any other options, but I did want to do flight nursing. And when I was a civilian, a majority of my colleagues from the trauma ICU, they would go into a flight path. So almost all my friends were civilian flight nurses. So that kind of drew me in, but Diego Garcia is an unaccompanied tour. So by this point I'm married. So I had my daughter and my husband, knowing that I'd go to an unaccompanied assignment, I'd have to leave them behind. The pipeline prior to that was, I think in total, was about 3 months. Mm-hmm. So I went to Washington initially to get to go through SEER training, and that is survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. And then from there, I went to Dayton, Ohio, and we went through a flight physiology course and a flight nurse course, and the Dunker. So then we going through the water survival training, and then from there we went to Diego Garcia. And once I got to Diego Garcia, I realized I was going to be flying a computer. So there wasn't a lot of flying involved, not a lot of medevacs involved, but there were a lot of planes that would land. And whenever the planes would land, because the flight surgeon was required to have a certain amount of hours, I would hop on with the flights. So,
oh, nice. Yeah. What kind of planes were you flying on?
Mainly P8s. So P8s would come.
Okay. So all like fixed wing,
all fixed wings.
Rotary wing helicopters.
Yep.
Okay. And then when you would go on the flights with the flight doc, it was just like joyriding, or were you like doing any type of training?
We did training once, but it was mainly joyriding because yeah.
And then you said you were like flying computers. When you were at the clinic, were you in like a leadership position? Were you the department head?
Yeah, so there was 2 department heads in the clinic, and I was the department head on the medical side, so the patient care side.
Okay. And then specifically for your flight wings, do you get those after that training in Dayton, Ohio?
Yeah, so you've got to go through, they test you out with your clinical skills, so you need to pass that. They test you out on a written test to make sure that you know the flight physiology portion, and then you have to complete a year tour in the flight nurse position to get your wings.
Okay. And then with that background, have you gotten to do any flying at other duty stations?
So I will always be a flight nurse, and I am always considered a flight nurse, but it's where you're billeted. Mm-hmm. So I have to be in an ICU billet wherever I go because I took an ICU bonus. Mm-hmm. So I did get to fly at other duty stations, but it was with like the ERC program. So when I went to Med Battalion, I got connected with the ERC program. So we did get to do some flying with them.
How have you managed having a family and being in the Navy, and what have your biggest challenges been?
Yeah, I think that's probably been my most challenging aspect of the military life. I think finding a work-life balance is really challenging because in the Navy, just trying to make rank and get that leadership experience and get your collaterals. Yeah. And you're in competition with not only others, but with yourself. So normally the people who join the Navy have a high speed lifestyle, and they've got like the A personality to begin with, and you want to do well and you want to be your best version. So having to balance my life has been probably the biggest challenge because I've always wanted to volunteer for things and do all the extra stuff and learn more and go to classes and go away, and I want to do these TADs. But then I've also got a young daughter at home that I need to be there with to go see her plays. I need to go to her games. I want to go pick her up from school. So I think having that balance has been the most challenging part.
Yeah, I agree. I've done the same thing. So Lisa and I worked together for a little bit, and so we know each other. We've talked about this extensively, and it's also just good to, have friends with that same experience, because you can talk about it and kind of get ideas and see how you can make it better. And just knowing that someone else is in that same boat.
And relate. Yeah.
What are you most proud of from your time in the Navy? Are there any experiences that stand out?
There's a lot of experiences. I think the most proud is probably my development, my personal development. Joining the Navy really has pushed me to do more and be more. And all these challenges that I've had, like joining the Navy in the first place as a single mom, is terrifying. And being a single mom back home was terrifying. How am I going to do this? How am I going to make this work? I can't make this work. And you figure it out. So I think the most proud has been my personal development, is just seeing what I can face and what I can overcome.
What is one thing you wish you would have known before joining the Navy? If you had to just dial it down to one thing.
It probably would have been the ICU bonus. So I was a critical care nurse, and there were 2 different bonuses at the time. There was a direct accession bonus that they would give anybody for just joining the military. And then there was a critical care bonus. And I was under the impression that I could get both, but I was told to join under the direct accession bonus because that's what would apply for me. But they both applied to me. And then once I did join and I tried to sign for the critical care bonus, I couldn't until I completed my 4 years under the direct accession bonus.
Oh, okay. And then, so I'm guessing the critical care bonus was a lot more money than.
Yeah, at the time, I want to say it was maybe like $150,000 or $100,000, and the direct accession bonus was $25,000.
Oh, that's a really good thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was a big difference.
Do you have any words of wisdom for those who may be thinking about becoming a Navy nurse?
I would say do it without any reservations, without any hesitations. If you're thinking about doing it, do it. Because the worst that can happen is you join, you do your time, you get all the benefits that come with it, and then you get out. So absolutely do it.
So that's what I've said before in different videos. And I'm telling you, a lot of people like DM me, they message me on YouTube, and they ask me a lot of, they say should I join or should I not? Here's my circumstances. And I say the same thing. I said, becoming a Navy nurse isn't binding, right? Just because you join doesn't mean you have to do 20 years. You can do 4 years, you can do 5 years, and then get the GI Bill to help you with college, or you can transfer it to your spouse or your kids. So it's an experience, right? Just like anything else. And if you decide that you really like it, or if it's better than what you're doing now, then you can stick with it. And there's a lot of good retirement benefits.
Yeah. Not just that, but life experience. Like, where else are you going to join as a nurse and get to travel and meet different people, go to different countries, see how other people live their lives, how other healthcare systems work? I think it gives you an appreciation for what you have here.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much. You're my first ever interview, and that's pretty special to me because we know each other. We're friends in real life. So thank you again, everyone, for watching. And if you have any questions, comments, feel free to DM me, and I will see you in the next video.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.